Lecture topic, Spiritual Cancer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There was a very prominent poet in India by the name of Ghalib. So he has said quite a few very wise things. One of the couplets of his, this is obviously, he's not talking about himself, but he uses his name to give a message. So he says that इश्क ने गालिब निकम्मा कर दिया वरना हम भी आदमी थे काम के. He's talking about ishq. Ishq is referring here in this context. Literally, ishq means love. But this is what's termed as ishq majazi, what we can call, for our purposes, haram love. So he's saying, Ghalib, this haram love has made you completely useless. Otherwise, you were also a very capable person. Now, what the message in this is very clear. That a person sometimes has a lot of capabilities. Allah Ta'ala has blessed him with a lot of ability, capability. He can be a person of great. Somebody can do a lot of good. He can be somebody very helpful to others. So he is a person that has been blessed with a lot of capability, and he can become a great asset and a benefit to society at large, to the ummah at large. But then what happened was he got caught up in some haram love. And there is perhaps nothing that can destroy a person more than haram love. His whole mind and heart, everything gets consumed. He can think of nothing else. That is what then directs him, that is what then will decide whether he'll even eat or sleep also, let alone other things. Ibadat is a faraway thing that will consume everything, his heart and mind, to a point where there'll be no heart in ibadat, there'll be no heart in studying deen, there'll be no heart in doing anything of dunya also often. And to the extent that will, when it becomes overwhelming situation, then he won't even eat and sleep of his own choice. People went insane with this, because now the whole night they are caught up in some chatting, caught up in some other issues, as a result of which they're not even sleeping properly and they're not even eating properly. This is the effect of this haram. Haram, like other haram things, it has a poisonous effect. It might be sometimes poisonous to the extent of the soul, which is the obvious thing, and sometimes that poison of the soul even affects the physical self also, the body also. The person starts physically also getting affected, he gets sick, and his heart obviously gets sick. The spiritual heart gets totally sick. Now that person who gets sick, the spiritual heart gets sick, so now the whole spirituality, the person's entire devotion to deen, his interest in deen, everything suffers. And he can't think straight at all. So if there's anything that has harmed a person more, on a general note, a person who, mashallah, Allah Ta'ala has blessed with some consciousness of deen, Allah Ta'ala has given the opportunity of deen, but still things go totally haywire, things go upside down, then the thing that has turned it most upside down is some kind of haram love. Sometimes in a more broader context, that haram that sits in the heart now overtakes the heart. So now the person is caught up in looking at some things, caught up going to places which are haram, caught up in other things that are haram. There isn't anything that has destroyed a person more than this. So therefore all the time there's a need to keep the heart clean of this. And if ever there is some cancer of this nature that has now affected the heart, like sometimes physically, person is well, suddenly realizes not feeling too well, he goes and has a checkup by the doctor, says you have this cancer now already in your body. So that person gets a shock of his life, and he's now in completely, everything is now become the priority. The priority has become now treating the cancer. That becomes his most important aspect now. That everything else can now wait. This cancer must get treated first. So his entire attention is towards treating that cancer. So likewise, this is a cancer. This haram love is a cancer. And if ever this is detected in the heart, a person has to go in a rush to somebody who can help him to treat that cancer and to get that cancer out of his heart. Otherwise, it's a cancer. And this cancer doesn't stop at a point. If it's not treated, it gets worse, it gets deeper. Allah forbid, then it leads to the point of destruction. Allah Ta'ala saves.
अल्लाह अल्लाह कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है।